Level 1T. The first swipe, you stare at the glowing screen of your phone, the brightness burning your retinas at 11:14 p.m. Your checking account balance reads exactly 14.22. You need a new front tire for your rusted 2009 Honda Civic. It costs $118.50 plus a $15 mounting fee. Without it, you cannot drive the 14 miles to your warehouse job. So, you apply for your very first credit card. The approval is instantaneous. A $500,000 limit. It feels like sudden breathing room. You buy the tire, then a coffee for $4.85 to celebrate. The rigid plastic feels heavy, powerful, sliding into the chip reader with a satisfying click. You tell yourself it's strictly for absolute emergencies. But exactly 3 weeks later, the car's radiator hisses and cracks, demanding $342.90 in repairs. You swipe again. The friction of the card against the machine is a microscopic scrape, barely audible over the harsh hum of the fluorescent lights above the mechanic's counter. You ignore the slight tightening in your chest, the way your breath catches just below your throat. It is manageable. You make $17.50 an hour. You can pay it off next month. The first statement arrives in a crisp white envelope smelling faintly of industrial printer ink. Balance a $481.25. Minimum due a $25. You pay exactly $50, feeling responsible, leaning back in your $45 thrifted desk chair. You do not notice the 24.99% APR quietly humming in the background, a parasite attaching itself to your future. You still deeply believe you are in control. Level 2A. The minimum payment trap, month 14 arrives, and the bleak landscape has changed. Your frayed leather wallet now holds 3 plastic cards. The original $500 limit grew to $2,500, then maxed out abruptly at $2,489.20. Card 2 sits stagnant at $180.50.45. Card 3, the blue one with the chipped metallic edge, is climbing rapidly past €9.41. Our total debt father $243.67. It happened quietly. A $42 billion emergency grocery run here, a $105.30 overdue utility bill there. Now, the letters do not come in crisp white envelopes anymore. They arrive as relentless red, bannered emails pinging your phone at exactly 8:02 a.m. every single Tuesday. You sit on the sagging edge of your unmade bed, feeling the cold draft from the poorly sealed window against your bare neck, calculating the damage. The minimum payments total $175 a month. You tap the cracked screen of your phone, transferring exactly $175.5 from your checking account. The balance barely flinches. The $48.20 in daily interest charges eats the payment alive. You hear the rhythmic dripping of the bathroom faucet. 1 drop every 3 seconds. And it sounds exactly like a metronome counting down your remaining grace period. A heavy, dull ache settles permanently behind your ribs. You stop buying 4.85 coffees. You start eating 89-cent packets of instant ramen. Desperately convinced this microscopic sacrifice will tip the scales. But the numbers are rigidly rigged. You are treading water in a dark, freezing ocean, and your calves are beginning to cramp. The plastic does not feel powerful anymore. It feels like solid concrete blocks tied tightly to your ankles. Level 3. The Consolidation Illusion, month 27. The total debt has mutated to an suffocating $14,287.44. The minimum payments are now exactly $4,112.50, choking your $109.512 weekly paycheck after rent, utilities, and basic survival necessities are deducted. You sit in your dimly lit kitchen at 20:14 a.m. The faint yellow glow of the refrigerator casting long, stretched shadows across the scuffed linoleum floor. You desperately find a lifeline on a glowing targeted ADA. A debt consolidation personal loan for debt of $15,000 at a seemingly manageable 14.5% interest rate. You apply with shaking thumbs. The approval email hits your inbox with a sharp digital ping at 10:41 a.m. the next morning. For exactly 48 hours, a massive, crushing weight lifts completely off your chest. Your credit cards finally raid zero. The plastic lies dormant on your desk, but the psychological behavior loop remains completely unbroken. Exactly 6 months later, a sudden $845.20 medical bill for a shattered molar forces you to pull out the silver Visa card once again. The swipe feels sickeningly familiar. A sharp metallic click echoing in the sterile dentist's office, mingling with the bitter smell of latex and antiseptic. Before you can mentally process the relapse, it is month 35. You now owe the remaining $13,425.90 balance on the personal loan, plus a newly regenerated $400.80 on the freshly maxed out cards. Total debt, $17,518.70. You are bleeding out financially. The air in your apartment feels noticeably thinner, heavier, drastically harder to breathe. Level 4. The collection calls month 42. You have officially missed 3 consecutive monthly payments on 2 different credit cards. The original grace period is a distant, dead memory. Your total debt has bloated to an unrecognizable $22,419.88 through aggressive late fees of $39 per account and penalty APRs abruptly spiking to a predatory 29.99%. The phone calls begin at exactly 8:01 a.m. and do not cease until exactly 8:59 p.m. An average of 14 calls a single day from constantly spoofed area codes. The generic, default digital ringtone of your smartphone transforms into a direct trigger for acute psychological panic. Every time it rings, a cold, violent spike of adrenaline shoots directly into your gut, causing your bare hands to clam up and your throat to go completely bone dry. You mute your phone permanently, wrapping the device tightly in a thick bath towel and burying it in the bottom drawer of your wooden dresser just to muffle the relentless, buzzing vibrations. You stop going out entirely. A simple, casual invitation for a Donna 14 diordered burger with old friends feels like a direct physical threat. You cannot possibly explain to them that spending $14 means you will not be able to afford the $45.60 electric bill that is already 12 days past due. You strictly isolate. You sit alone on the floor of your living room, the sofa long sold for $150 cash on a local online marketplace. Level 5. The civil summons month 51. The total debt is an agonizing $27,811.34. At exactly 3:42 p.m. on a rainy Tuesday, a thick manila envelope arrives in your rusted aluminum mailbox. It does not look like a standard bill. It is heavy, weighing exactly 3.4 ounces, sent via certified mail. You rip the perforated edge, the sound a loud, violent tear in the dead silence of your hallway. It is a civil summons. A third-party debt buyer, who purchased your long, forgotten 41921 credit card debt for pennies, is officially suing you. Your heart slams against your ribs, a harsh, erratic thudding that makes your peripheral vision blur. You trace the bold, black laser, printed letters with a visibly trembling index finger. Court date 41 days away. You are completely paralyzed, standing stiffly on the faded 6'8" living room rug. If they win a judgment, they will aggressively garnish exactly 25% of your disposable income. Your bi-weekly paycheck of $905.12 would violently shrink to $428.84. Your strict, skeletal survival budget requires exactly $1 or $610.50 just to keep the electricity humming and the cheap 400 square foot roof over your head. You press your forehead against the cold, condensation-covered window pane, feeling the icy moisture seep into your skin. You cannot afford a lawyer who demands a fuller $500 in retainer fee up front. You cannot afford to pay the settlement offer of $4,209.56. You are permanently trapped in a sterile, legal vice grip, the metal jaws tightening. Level 6C, the total deprivation month 58. The wage garnishment is brutally active. Every other Friday at 4:15 a.m., the direct deposit hits your checking account stripped bare, exactly $476.28 lighter. You are starving, not metaphorically. You stare blankly into the harsh fluorescent light of the grocery store aisle at 10:23 p.m., mentally weighing a 2.99 bag of dried black beans against a 1.85 carton of generic eggs. You put the eggs back, the porous cardboard feeling slightly damp against your freezing fingertips. To survive the 315th structural deficit this month, you begin stripping your physical life down to its absolute microscopic bolts. You sell your 4-year-old laptop for a desperate $180 in a dark, wet gas station parking lot. The physical cash feels greasy, thin, and instantly evaporates into a heavily past, due $164.20 water bill. You abruptly unplug the refrigerator to save exactly $12.45 a month on electricity, relying solely on cheap, canned goods stacked symmetrically on the dusty laminate countertop. The absolute silence in the apartment is physically deafening without the heavy appliances' low mechanical hum. You sit perfectly still on the bare hardwood floorboards at 1:17 a.m., wearing a heavy, moth-eaten wool coat indoors because the thermostat is permanently locked at 52 degrees. You realize with a sickening drop in your lower stomach that you have successfully commodified your own raw suffering. Every breath, every single calorie, every shivering minute feeds the 29/3/11/90 digital void. Level 70, the bankruptcy breaking point, month 72. The total debt now hovers at an inescapable 912.44, bloated by default judgments and relentless legal fees. Your physical body is failing under the microscopic weight of chronic stress. Your resting heart rate sits at a permanent 98 beats per minute. A dull, throbbing pain radiates continuously behind your left eye, brought on by 14 consecutive nights of sleeping less than 190 minutes on a bare, heavily stained mattress. You walk exactly 2.4 miles to a free legal aid clinic in the freezing rain, your worn left shoe letting in freezing dirty puddle water through a jagged half-inch crack in the sole. You sit in a hard, molded plastic chair in a sterile waiting room smelling intensely of bleach and wet wool for 3 hours and 14 minutes. A tired attorney with heavy bags under his eyes reviews your paperwork. He tells you Chapter 7 bankruptcy will cost exactly Frs $450 in filing and attorney fees. It is an impossible sum. You must now save for your own financial funeral. Over the next 9 agonizing months, you hoard loose change in a cracked glass jar, sell your own plasma exactly twice a week for $45 a session, and severely ration 65-cent cans of tuna. Every physical sensation, the sharp prick of the thick needle entering your bruised vein, the metallic taste of blood in your dry mouth, the dizzying lightheadedness as you walk out into the bright afternoon sun, is a direct transaction to buy back your legal freedom. Level 8, the financial ghost, month 81. The bankruptcy is officially discharged. Your total debt is aggressively wiped to exactly 0 points in odor. But you are not free. You are a financial ghost. Your credit score is a catastrophic 410. The Chapter 7 filing is a dark red stain that will violently adhere to your record for exactly 10 years, or 650 days of complete exclusion from modern society. You apply for a marginally better apartment closer to the warehouse. The leasing agent, holding your 50.0 non-refundable application fee, takes exactly 14 seconds to scan the background check before shaking his head. You are mathematically untouchable. You are forced to rent a damp, windowless basement room from a private landlord for $650 cash, handing over exactly 13 crisp $50 bills every single first of the month. You buy a 14-year-old pre-paid burner phone because no major carrier will approve a standard 24-month contract. You stand at the gas station counter at 6:42 a.m., watching a man beside you easily swipe a sleek metal rewards card for a 3.5-time coffee. You reach into your faded front pocket, pulling out 3 crumpled, slightly damp $1 bills and a sticky quarter. You place them carefully on the scratched glass counter. The transaction is instantly finalized, leaving 0 digital footprint. You walk out into the gray, freezing morning air, the heavy iron chains finally gone from your ankles, but you quickly realize you are now wandering entirely alone in an invisible, impenetrable wasteland.